Okay, so we're at the final part of the poem now where he's talking about his neighbour. He's moving like an old stone savage arm. So he's making a judgment here about his neighbour being like a Stone Age man, and he's carrying the stones in each hand. But he's also making an implication here as well when he says, I'd rather he said it for himself, and then creates the image of this Stone Age man. And he says, he moves in darkness as it seems to me. So he moves in darkness, not of woods only in the shade of trees. So not physically, it's not like he's in the shade, but he's implying that he's not a well-educated man, that he's not an opinionated man. And he says he will not go behind his father's saying, so that he's just mindlessly repeating what his father always said. Good fences make good neighbours. So he's implying that his neighbour isn't a man who thinks a lot or is very opinionated, that he's moves in darkness, and he is this kind of Stone Age Neanderthal type man who's just mindlessly rebuilding the wall and not really thinking about what it means. And that comes back then to our next, to the middle part of the poem when Frost says, I'd like to know who I was walling in, or what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offence. So is Frost implying here that the neighbour's dogged rebuilding of the wall every year is actually quite offensive? But it's very clear what land is mine and what land is yours. Do you think that I'm going to try and take what's yours? Is that how little you think of me? And maybe he's making a social commentary here as well. Are we too preoccupied with what's mine and what's yours, and drawing boundaries and lines and borders between ourselves in friendships or relationships, in society, and not giving people credit for being, I suppose, mindful of each other's space? That we have to say, this is mine and that's yours. Do we really need to say it, I suppose, is what Frost is saying here. So he is kind of putting these ideas out there in a very kind of good-natured, banter type way. The poem is quite narrative. The language is very colloquial, but there is a darker, or I suppose deeper message there. He says that he kind of pushes it this time. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. So it's almost like Frost is playing with his neighbour, and maybe he's making fun of him a little bit as well. The neighbour is shown as someone who has accepted what's been said without question, upholds the status quo, and Frost is questioning that. Why are we doing things this way? And if we bring that into social context, questioning why are we still keeping the Berlin Wall up? As you know, as I told you already, Frost advocated for the wall to be taken down. Gorbachev tear down this wall. And then with Trump as well, why are we going on with this wall? Why do we need this wall?